All right. We're live from 304 Studios in Jonesboro, Arkansas. This is an STS Pod dot Club production. I'm BT, and right over there, co-hosting this week is Terrence Ward. How the hell are you, Terrence?
Well, I had to figure out where I was at. It's been a long day on this day of taping, rolling into Mempho, and I'm just making sure my sanity is still intact.
Well, I'm telling you what, we got right now, not tonight, but we're talking today, in the next 45 minutes, as this is airing, at 1:45 the show starts. So I'm going to get you in and out of here as quick as possible. And if people, man, if you're just sitting here watching us on the internet, and Terrence can walk out the door and he's there. That's what he's just fixing to do. Me, and if you can't just walk out the door and you're not right there at Memphis Wrestling, what I want you to do is quit listening to us. You can listen to us on the main feed. You can listen to us on YouTube after the show. We want you there at the show today. Tell them what's happening. What's happening today at the show?
Listen, we've got a lot of great things going on today at our show. There at the Wrestle Center, 3296 Winbrook Drive. It is going to be an amazing super bout extravaganza, spectacular. Yeah, a lot of big words. Wasn't prepared for those big words. We are going to see some returning guests. Might even see a few surprises along the way. And you know, we even have a special guest coming, BT.
Oh, yeah. See, now I want to say sheep herder is what I want to say, because I grew up watching him as a sheep herder. You know, he was a bushwhacker, but I loved him as a sheep herder. So that's Bushwhacker Luke, and that should be really fun there at the Wrestle Center.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be incredible. If you've never seen the WWE Hall of Famer yourself, you are going to want to be there for this moment. He is, from what I've heard, is a great personality. I referenced back watching one of the Bushwhackers get eliminated in the Royal Rumble over the top rope, continues his walk around the ring, back to the dressing room.
Yes, loved it. I loved it. That's right.
Absolutely loved it.
All right, guys, this is episode 679, episode 102 of Rolling into Mempho. Big shout out to Big Dan, because I can't remember if I shouted him out or not, for Patreon. Follow us on TikTok, all of the shiznit social media. We're talking, I'm on Reels now, I'm Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, you name it. We doing the Shiznit Minute every day. If you go to stspod.club and you go to the right-hand corner, you can join Patreon, and you also, there's links to all our social media. All right, man, every week, and I've changed it up a little bit, but this week we're going to be doing, I was solo last week, so we're going to do something a little different. Hits, misses, MVP, and we got a very important question of the week, a new category, kind of like the old category, but it's called What's Happening and Must See. And before we get started, I want to say something really quick. I absolutely love, this is a big hit, but I'm going to include it in my hits, but I just want to tell people the Cobra Cup is history to Memphis Wrestling now. And this is the third annual. If you want to go to episode 3 with Brett Michaels winning, you can watch it episode 3. And then last year, we had Mike Anthony winning against Colton Cage in the finals on episode 54. And Terrence, you're behind the scenes a little bit. You understand that Brett Michaels was so important during that first year, and then all of a sudden Mike Anthony's so important that third year. That person that wins the Cobra Cup, we can almost look for them getting a huge push toward the title picture. I don't know any spoilers, so I'm just guessing. But we're going to start with hits. What were your hits of this show?
Oh, man, I really got to say another great episode. Again, completely going to be biased here, but a great show from start to finish. That is very rare that you find a program where you're watching every minute of an episode, trying to figure out what's going to happen next and follow the story that's being told. Just like you said, some of these stories being told have been told for the last 3 years. That's how long they stretch back. It may not be the same repeating chorus or the same chapter, but it's the same overarching story since day one of Memphis Wrestling's return. I got to say, huge pop, huge hit for King Cobra coming out, presenting the King Cobra trophy or the Cobra Cup trophy there at the desk. I did misspeak, and that's going to be on one of my misses, so I'm not going to cover that here. But I did enjoy, speaking of King Cobra, hit for me, the promo video with him and Derek King there in the I want to say the lobby of the Wrestle Center. I think that's probably the best word to say. Really great history lesson and great words of advice from King Cobra to Derek King. Also, another big hit was Mackenzie Morgan and the three goddesses of Memphis Wrestling, Nyx and Cassandra Golden, the reigning champion, standing tall after coming to the aid of Mackenzie Morgan there in the ring. And then finally, the last match of the show, the Boz versus Big Jack. I thought it was a great match. A few little things I might have done different. However, it still made Big Jack look strong, but carried the Boz to victory and made him look just as great as he did when he came out.
All right, my hits. I'm going to go with. I really like the King Cobra thing. I love the idea of having storylines and like the King Cobra history. I love that. Reverend Ash Taylor comes out. The Reverend comes out and introduces Brother Red in overalls. Kind of looks. I don't know. I wanted to say Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt-ish, the old Bray Wyatt. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but Reverend Ash can do all kinds of things. Love the Brighton, Tennessee clips. What a crowd, guys. What a crowd last Friday night. Friday night looked fantastic. The righteous right hand going against Gio Savage. I really like that choke slam from the top, from the actual top. One of my favorite things, and I'm not a huge James Ellsworth fan. I'll just be open with you. I'm really not. But when Mackenzie Morgan came out, the whole interview segment there had me dying laughing. She was saying that she was smelling something really bad, and she knew it was James Ellsworth that jumped her because she smelled him. He just smelled horribly bad. The slimy James Ellsworth. That's what he looks like, a slimy heel. And then the girls came out with the big save. And you forgot. You said the main event. The main event was a tag match, man.
That's a
the
miss.
Main event
That's a live miss. It's a live miss.
Gun Show and Turmeric. I love the way they always put, even the two guys are going to be going against each other today. They put them in on TV as a tag team to go against Hollywood Jimmy. And I teased it last week, not really knowing it was going to happen, but looks like we saw a Colton Cage turn. He did walk off and leave Vicious alone, so we don't look for him to be with the Clique anymore. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Colton Cage. All right, man, that was our hits for week 102. Is that 102?
Episode 102.
Yeah, did I say 101 earlier? Oh, I might have. So 102. Misses for episode 102. Do you have any misses?
Looking back and kind of looking through some of the things that happened on today's episode, I think one of the misses for me was the match with Brother Red and Gio Savage. That big power move from Gio to Brother Red. Here's a brand new guy coming out, supposed to look very strong, and has such a powerful move performed. I don't know what it was called. It was a bridge of some kind. Just to me didn't set well. And again, that's no shot across the bow to Gio. I just might have directed that a little differently had I been producing that match or calling that match, because we want to make Brother Red look amazingly strong and huge and unstoppable. He's the righteous right hand of Ash Taylor, the Reverend. So, but he did end on a good note. So I think it kind of covered a little bit of that, but it was still a big moment in that match.
Yeah, and like you said, when you're doing a big move on a big guy, and you don't want to do that. And the way Gio Savage is such a good babyface and the people like him, it's not going to hurt him to lose from a choke slam from the top rope. I mean, that's going to beat anybody. So nothing, don't do anything to hurt the big guy. I'm going to be picky about something too. And you said if I was agenting, you was going to be an agent for a match. This is if I was going to be an agent back there. So we're getting on to the agents today. We had Vane. He actually used Boz's clothesline as his finisher. They're calling it the ripcord for Boz. And, Okada uses it. I would never ever have two guys using the same finishing move, and that might have been just someone's mistake of saying finish him off with a clothesline. Vane is a huge guy; he needs to get a good finishing move. By the way, Jason Vane, go ahead. My number's everywhere. Everyone knows how to get a hold of me. Call me. I got a finishing move for you. So, but don't tell Dustin I gave that to you. All right, guys.
Really quick. I have one more miss.
All right.
I had one more miss. I misspoke on the show in reference to King Cobra's championship win. I said it was in the late 80s. Actually happened in 1990. So it was in January of 1990 when he won the world championship there at the Mid-South Coliseum. So that was a miss on my part, and I don't do that often.
I love King Cobra's story and him winning the belt. We're going to spend some time in May going over King Cobra's win. And also, I don't know if you remember this, a guy by the name of Snowman that came in, and there's a whole bunch of controversy about him winning the belt. But we're going to spend some time on that belt that King Cobra won, so it'll be fun. Maybe we can get him on the show. All right, that was our misses for week 102. Now we're up to MVP. Who is your MVP, Terrence?
It's tough. There was a lot of good things here. I actually have somebody that probably should get an MVP that hasn't gotten one yet. That's kind of an unsung hero from a mid-card guy standpoint, and that is Kid Wrestling. Kid Wrestling, no matter who he is in the ring with, it doesn't matter who he's up against, always does an amazing job making his opponent look great and makes himself look professional. I've never seen Kid Wrestling miss any spot that's been called in the ring, and he's always a consummate professional when he's there at the Wrestle Center. So to me, from a show standpoint, from an in-ring ability, he is for me the MVP, and he deserves it. Long overdue.
And apparently needed the MVP in Brighton. I heard his match was over the top, really good match. He didn't win, but the crowd loves him there. Absolutely loves her. Your MVP was Kid Wrestler. Well, mine is I absolutely loved her performance. I questioned her interview when she came out. She didn't know who jumped her. I really didn't like that interview. But Mackenzie Morgan today made me laugh and smile. And mainly because I see that in James Ellsworth as a heel, the slimy heel that gets away with everything. And this came out of I could not ever have seen this coming, Terrence. I actually questioned who booked it, and no one really knew. I guess it was just one of those times where they throw something out and they start booking it. And it was classic Memphis, her coming out there and James going to beat her up and the girls making a save. So I'm going to give the most valuable player MVP to Mackenzie Morgan. Okay, guys, real quick. This week we had the Observing the Observer, the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. I don't know if you're familiar with that, Terrence, but the Hall of Fame has been going on for a long time. Dave Meltzer sends out the ballots too, and I've been getting a ballot ever since it started. Oh, yeah, there you go. And my buddy Lance Levine is part of the committee also, and we go over the winners who got put into the Hall of Fame this year, and we actually go over the people that we wanted to go in. And I've voted on Rocky Johnson for the last 7 years, and they still don't have him in the Hall of Fame. So I'm shaking my fist at Dave Meltzer right now. All right. And so we're up to question of the week. All right, Terrence, I got this, and I said something to you before we started recording. I got this question over and over this week. I did a little joke on episode 101 where I brought Rhino JB on, and he wasn't there. And then I said future endeavors. All joking aside, Rhino actually texted me and Dustin. The question of the week has been what the hell happened to Rhino JB? He's been with us for 100 episodes. I thank him for everything he did. He showed up and did this 30-minute show for almost 100 weeks. I think he did 89. We had a good time, and we got put together. We talked about this on Patreon, but me and him got to put together kind of by Dustin, and we just showed up at the studio every week and did the show. We did a hangout afterwards. We didn't talk. We didn't do. But he texts us right after episode 100. He's got a lot of projects he's doing. He always has since the day I met him. He's on Twitch. He's got a big thing going on with the wrestling game, the WWE wrestling game. Just didn't have the time to do the podcast. No hard feelings whatsoever. But I thought I'd let everyone know what the hell happened to Rhino JB. So that was the question of the week. All right. Speaking of what's happening, that's our new category. So let me go ahead. I'll tell you what's happening for me this week. What's happening right now within, we got about 15 minutes, something like that, 20 minutes. K-Toomer, Brett Michaels today. What's happening with that? Oh, I can't wait to see that match. I like both those guys a lot. I've always said that, when I promoted Terrence, I had the athletes, I had the pretty boys, I had the big fat ugly heels, I had the monsters, I had everything. I love everything about wrestling, so I put everybody in there. To me, the K-Toomer and Brett Michaels is two guys with total different style going against each other, and it's almost, I know Brett just won the belt, but it feels like it's time for K-Toomer to have the belt. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. And what's happening this week, Blake Christian from this area here, Trenton, Tennessee, I believe, Tennessee area, knows Aaron Roberts. They've been friends for a long time, and he's wanting to talk to Aaron Roberts about some things, so that should be fun. So what's happening for you?
Look, so today you mentioned it, K-Toomer versus Brett Michaels, the gun show, the Memphis Heritage title. I want to see. Here's the thing. I love the gun show, but I want to see Show Enough at the top of I almost said the leaderboard, the top of the roster, wearing gold, carrying the company. There's a little bit of a reflection that I think as you go into the show today, if you've got some time, I know there's going to be 15 minutes maybe to spare between the first bell and when this podcast is done. But I would invite you to go back, look at the bonus features from last week's show that happened off the air, and watch some of those episodes that Toomer talks about, because he was sitting front row in the crowd. Nobody gave him batted an eye towards him. Nobody gave him a chance. But when he made his chance and he opened that door, he has been stacking bodies since day one. And I love the gun show. I wish him all the best in the world, but I'm going to be chanting Show Enough from the back of the arena today.
And my mom is a huge K-Toomer fan. I actually got her some merch, and she just loves K-Toomer. I remember the first time he did the interview, I text her and I said, "Mom, did you watch wrestling in the podcast today?" And she texted me back and said, "Show enough." And I died laughing. I was like, so he is over. My mom caught that as the first time he did that interview, he was over. So that's what's happening for week 102. And we're up to must see. What's the must see for episode 102 there, Terrence?
See, wait a minute.
I almost called you Lance, so I'm sorry.
Is it because of the nose? Come on,
no.
Man.
That's my other partner, Lance Levine. I'm always talking to Lance Levine all the time. No, I won't tell him what the wife calls him. So my boyfriend. So there you go.
That's all right. I probably got some heat on myself for comparing myself to Lance just then. Listen, so what must see coming up for this episode on episode 102 today? If you're joining us and you missed the episode for some reason or another, got to go back and you've got to take a look at least the main event. I know I missed that in my hits, but you bring up there's a lot of major drama that happens during this match, and it is definitely going to show a fracturing of the Hollywood clique. Is it enough to break it apart, or is it just a little bit that they can throw some spackle on it, paint it, and call it a day?
Well, he's got enough people out there. I mean, he's not going to miss one, is he? Jeez, come on. Guys, must see for me this week. Must see. Go back and watch James Ellsworth. He's doing an autograph for some mark. Who was that? It was some mark. He's doing an autograph for somebody, and all of a sudden we see Matt Williams come out, and then we end up Ellsworth is out, and like I said, I did not see this coming at all. I love the idea of them taking somebody outside of the universe per se, the Memphis Wrestling universe, and putting them right smack in the middle of that storyline. We've been waiting to find out who attacked Mackenzie Morgan. Go ahead and watch that angle from the time he comes out. He's talking, and Mackenzie comes out. She's, like I said, my MVP this week, but she comes out talking, and then they go to beat her up. And what happens after that with the girls jumping in and helping her? Guys, that's my must see for the week. All right, Terrence, I want to thank you for joining us. Same bad time, same bad channel on the best little wrestling podcast in the business. Be there today, right now. Get in your car, head on out. Be there. As everyone knows, I love my mama.
Show enough.